Hello and welcome to the show the podcast community has called Access Involvement. I'm Billy Ferris. In each episode, I will talk to different member or members from the staff of Student Involvement. This week, I am joined on a 4-for-1 special with our graduate assistants. We have Jamie Calvert, we have Chapman Cooper, we have Charlie Gordon, and we have Brooks Triplett, and I would like to be credited with getting all your names right without having it written down on this here script.
Incredible.
I think that deserves some awards. We also have our producer, Amy Shugart, off screen, keeping track of trivia, as always. So, I didn't say like raise your hand and wave when I said your name. So Jamie, just kind of acknowledge so people know who you are. Chapman, Charlie, Brooks. Now everybody knows who everybody is. That's good stuff. So how's it going for everybody?
I'm so excited.
So Charlie, you did say you are the #1 fan of the podcast.
Yes, self-proclaimed and getting a t-shirt. Like, I'm ready.
Do we have t-shirts? We don't have t-shirts.
I'll make one today.
I can't wait to see
He's
it.
going to pull out the Cricut and make it like
Yes.
in the office.
Has anyone been on a podcast before?
No.
Okay, rules are very complicated. Rule number 1, talk into the microphone. And that's it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Can we remember that?
Yes.
Okay. This is why you're graduate assistants. You pick things up so fast. All right, we're going to start with pop quiz, where we get to know each of you a little bit better. I'm going to direct each question to 2 of you, just so we don't spend 2 hours on pop quiz. Right. And just no rules to pop quiz. Say whatever you want to say and answer however you would like to answer. The first one is for Jamie and Brooks. So Jamie, then Brooks. If you could only have 3 apps on your phone, and we don't have to count like phone messages, like apps you have to download, which 3 would you have on your phone still?
For me, I would say Twitter, Outlook, and that game where you find words, like the word finding game, and you get all the coins. I'm addicted to it. It's really simple, but it's my favorite, and it's the one game that I have on my phone.
All right. Got to have a game.
Okay, I'm going to go with Outlook as well because I stay checking my email after hours and at all times. Then I'd have to go with Instagram so I can keep up with everyone and what they're up to. And then I've recently been into Kindle. I am on book TikTok all the time, so I've got a lot of books in my queue. So yeah, I've been reading a chapter each night, so that's been fun.
You both go with Outlook. The mail app comes on your phone.
But Outlook doesn't.
Yeah, but you can get Outlook on it. That's just a missed opportunity for an extra app is all
Sure.
I'm saying.
Okay, well.
Okay, I'm trying to teach. I'm trying to teach on this episode.
We are here to learn.
We are here to
Thank
learn.
you. Someone is trying to earn some brownie points. Charlie and Chapman. So we'll go first Chapman, then Charlie. Who would play you in a movie about your life?
So people have been saying that I look like Ariel Winter. She's the middle child of in Modern Family.
I can actually see that.
So
yeah.
people have told me that I looked like her, but I would want Lauren Graham or Lorelai Gilmore to play me.
I think she goes by both.
Yes. I think
We've heard it both ways on
yes,
this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would want her, but everyone would say that I would probably be Ariel Winter.
They could maybe each play you different phases of your life.
Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would want to play myself once that if it does get nominated for an Oscar, then I could win an Oscar. But if I can't play myself, then obviously Jason Segel. I think he's an amazing actor. And I think we have the same sense of humor, so I think it'd be fun. Or Ansel Elgort.
You kind of have similar hair as
Yeah.
well to Jason Segel.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that. Okay. You'll both pick good answers. You pick people that actually do kind of resemble you. Mm-hmm. That was good. Brooks and Chapman. We'll go in that order. What fictional character would you most want as a roommate?
Okay, I have to say Joey Tribbiani from Friends. Were you going to say that too? Yikes.
No, just wait.
Okay. So I just loved that whole, scheme in Friends where Rachel moves in and he is just so kind and so sweet and takes care. I think that I'd remove the weird relationship part that they tried to push on everyone. But yeah, I have to go with Joey Tribbiani. I like to cook. He likes to eat. I think it would really work out.
All right. Are you going to say Monica based on your
No,
reaction?
I was going to say Chandler Bing. Because I think it would just be a great time, and I love the witty banter that he has, and I think we would vibe.
We're going to split them up. We're going to be the reason that they're no longer roommates.
Yes.
Ooh, drama. All right, Jamie and Charlie. If you could have anyone's singing voice, who would it be?
You go first.
Frank Sinatra, obviously. Got to go with the classic.
Okay, you're reaching way back. Do you want to give us a little, or?
No.
No, okay.
I would say Beyonce because I really think she has a very talented vocal range. She can really hit those very low bass notes, but obviously she can hit whistle tones as well. And I think she has very, very strong stage presence and a lot of charisma when she's performing.
Do you want to give us a little Beyonce?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. No one ever takes me up on my offers. I asked Amy to do a cartwheel, and she said she wanted to do a cartwheel. She would not do one, even though we do have enough space for regulation cartwheel in here. No one ever takes me.
What is the regulation cartwheel?
There's a board of
Gymnastics.
amateur gymnastics.
Somebody call SUNY. Like,
And call SUNY.
SUNY.
She's on campus. She could tell us. There's a regulation cartwheel. You know, it's a person times 2.5 divided by the ceiling.
Okay.
I wasn't a math major, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for. We're learning so much.
I'm trying to educate. This is an educational podcast. Let's go with Jamie and Chapman. What's your favorite stress relief activity or hobby?
Oh, I'm going first?
Yes.
I'm the host. I'll make the rule. Chapman, go first.
Oh, beautiful.
Only
Okay.
because you told Jamie to go first.
Well, because you said Jamie and Chapman, so then
I did.
whatever.
There are no rules to pop quiz.
Now I'm learning. So my favorite stress relieving activity that I did last semester was I would drive to the Publix on Pepper something.
Pepper.
I don't know which one it was. It was the farther away one because I wanted more time in the car, and I would drive to Publix to get some sushi, then drive back to my apartment and eat the sushi. That was my stress relief.
It would have been weird if you're like, I didn't eat the sushi. I bought it.
And I would
I
just,
left
like,
it in the
good for
car.
the
And they were just
economy.
like, yes, maybe I should find a stress relieving activity that doesn't involve money, but you know, it was a great time. I really loved it, and I probably will do it again for the rest of my life.
Is this
And-
the Moore's Mill Publix? Is that what you're talking about?
No, the other one.
The one on University?
Maybe. Yeah, all the way down. But I am going to be sad when I don't live near Publix because now I'm going to plug Publix sushi is pretty good.
I can
And
back that up.
it's pretty good. And I want it like people are like, ew, grocery store sushi. I'm like, no, it's pretty good. I would highly recommend.
The Publix subs are also the best subs in town.
Indeed.
By so far. Jamie, was that an agree or disagree face?
That was an agree.
Okay.
I am from Florida, and I will back pub subs, and I will back Publix sushi 7 days of the
Just
week.
Publix is just a superior grocery
Where shopping
store.
is a pleasure, yes, I
Shopping
agree.
is often a pleasure there. Yes.
It is always a pleasure there.
Can I give you an unpopular grocery store? I'm breaking my own rule about not answering the pop quiz questions this
Yes.
time. We all knew what would happen. My unpopular opinion is I wish they would leave the one-way aisles at the grocery stores that they had in the beginning of the pandemic.
yeah.
Oh, I
It was
agree.
so nice.
I can vibe with that.
It was, and also the looks you could give people when they were going the wrong way.
Right.
That was fun.
Also, you never grow out of the cookie club or the chicken finger club. Like you can walk up and get a free cookie and a free chicken finger at any time. Like for
At
any
Publix?
age. Yes, one chicken finger.
At Publix?
Yes. You just walk up and be like, "Hey, can I taste a chicken finger?" And they'll be like, "Yeah," and they'll hand it to you.
Is this an actual club or
Yeah,
is this
no.
just like a Brooks?
Well, do you
hack?
remember
Is
the
this
like?
on AU Involved?
Right. Do you remember the like cookie club that kids could join? And yes.
Okay, so Amy, I think saying Oliver is a member of the Cookie Club.
Yes, but
her
adult,
son.
you never grow out of it. There's no expiration date, and you can also ask for a free chicken.
You
finger.
guys, I'm gonna join 2 clubs after
clubs.
work.
Do you
today.
have to join the cookie club to get a
No,
cookie?
you just walk in and get a cookie.
That is great to know.
Yeah.
Is purchase necessary?
No,
Okay.
it's just like a sample.
Good to know.
Beautiful.
Okay, so Jamie, stress relief hobby or activity?
Oh.
What do you do at Publix?
So my public stress relief activity. My brother and I were competitive swimmers and divers for a long time, so I love going to the leisure pool or the lap pool here at Auburn and just doing literal laps. It's very mindless and it's a good way to stay somewhat in shape. I'm not in shape, but I find it very relaxing just to hear nothing and think about nothing and do the same activity for about an hour.
What was your stroke in swimming?
So I beef with breaststroke. I really didn't like breaststroke. I was just free. I did 50 free. That was my event.
Breaststroke was probably my favorite one to do. when I
Well,
swam.
I guess we're beefing
So-
now.
Okay. Microphone off. All right, Brooks and Charlie, last pop quiz question. What song never fails to get stuck in your head? And this doesn't have to be a good thing. It can be. It doesn't have to be a good thing. I ask this for psychological warfare because it's going to be stuck in your head for the rest of the day. So be careful with what you answer.
Right. I stay having which I know Charlie probably relates to as well, but I stay having Broadway soundtracks stuck in my head. Recently, it has been Legally Blonde. So any and every song from Legally Blonde, specifically recently, Bend and Snap. I can't get it out of my head.
All right.
Ricks and I like to listen to soundtracks in the office, but I'm on like really deep dance talk. And so it's literally just any dance TikTok. Right now it's the Give Me More song by SZA. It's always in my head and I want it to get out. So any suggestions on how to forget that song?
I think you just have to sing it. I think you have to sing it out loud to get things out of your
Oh,
head.
that's true. Yeah.
I don't know what Aim is saying.
The Mario theme song.
The Mario theme song. Sing that to get other songs out of your head.
Oh,
The original.
I just go with 1877 Cars for Kids to get everything else out of my head.
yeah, or 877 Cash Now. That
Ooh,
one helps.
that one
That's
too.
a really good
JT
one.
Wentworth.
Yeah.
You know.
JG Wentworth. Official jingle of Access involvement.
We have so many sponsors on this podcast.
I know, and you know, what's weird?
SponCon.
None of them are. None of them give us anything for their sponsorships. It's
We
just
get a free cookie?
cookies and
we get a free cookie and free chicken
And we are
fingers.
appreciative of them.
Thank you, Publix.
Honestly, Publix does have the best subs in town and probably the best chicken fingers in town.
I agree. Can we go there for lunch collectively?
We should.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no.
Wonderful.
Okay. We're gonna end pop quiz there. Everybody passed.
Yay.
Congratulations. Your semesters are off to the best start. As grad students, grades are important.
Indeed.
You all get A's. We're gonna get into Let's Get Personal, where we find more out about all of you and your path here. So this is one where I'm going to trust everyone not to talk over each other, but I'm just going to open it up. So as we always do on Access Involvement, we're going to start with the start. Where are you each from? And we're just going to go around the horn, starting with Jamie.
I am from Pensacola, Florida.
I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
I am originally from Russellville, Alabama, 12 letters, 1 syllable.
Okay. I am from Savannah, Georgia.
How many syllables? How many
I
letters?
was also literally counting as quickly as I could. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
There's a story about the syllables. It's
More than 2, less than 10.
Russellville.
Right. It's
You
3.
just got to cram them all in.
All right.
For Savannah.
So let's just go. Let's start with Chapman. You grew up in Louisiana. What was it like growing up there?
Louisiana is a different kind of culture, I would say. Really good food. I was spoiled with that, and my family, like, we just eat good food, and I know.
It's like a lot of Publixes.
No, there's no Publix at all.
okay.
Yeah, I just got Publix when I was in Alabama. And I love Louisiana. Baton Rouge was a city, but I didn't feel like a city because I was like far away from downtown. I would want to move Baton Rouge somewhere else, but I don't think I'm ever going back, which is kind of sad.
You'll never go back to it. How many of you want to go back to where you came from and live? Jamie, you do. What makes it like Pensacola or Florida?
I would say Pensacola. I'd like to raise my family there because I loved growing up there. I wouldn't want to be there now in my 20s. There isn't too much to do for young people. I think it's growing quite a bit, but the school system is a lot stronger. There's more family-friendly activities than there were when I was a kid. So seeing that, I would love to raise my kids there, but I wouldn't go there now. I think at this point in my life, I'd like to be in a bigger city.
All right, so what were some of your favorite things growing up in Pensacola that you did?
The beach, of course. There's tons of parks. It's a very nature-centric kind of town. So there was a lot of nature preserves, either near the beach or kind of more inland. So I love going to the beach. I love going to nature preserves. Pensacola is also one of those places where you are 3 hours from New Orleans, about 5 hours from Atlanta. We're about 7 hours from Disney World. So we're a good drive away from all the fun things, but we're not in the middle of all the craziness that comes with those fun things. So it's a nice little town where you can get away if you want to, but you're always inclined to stay.
Brooks, you said Savannah. So what were your favorite thing? I just think of Savannah as like this very old style southern city with a lot of tradition and a lot of seems like they have a lot of festivals.
Yeah.
Weirdly. So like what were some of your favorite things in Savannah?
So I actually grew up going to elementary school in the heart of downtown. So if you've ever seen Forrest Gump, which was filmed in Savannah, or a lot of it was filmed in Savannah, my elementary school was the steeple that the feather floats down. So that's Independent Presbyterian Church, and that's where I went to elementary school. So that was cool. Our playground was the park located behind his bench. So that's where I spent every day eating snack and chasing each other around the park. So it was just cool to be in the heart of such a rich town full of so much history. My dad also works in the hospitality industry, so we're always involved in what's going on in Savannah. The St. Patrick's Day Parade is I think the second largest in the nation, so that's always a fun time come March. But we also are pretty close to the beach, and so getting to go out to Tybee Island was always really cool. But I just feel like there was always a new restaurant, there's always a new thing to explore and to learn about, and to, respect the history and learn more about what it means for the folks that live there now. My parents moved moved out to the water, so we have recently become water people and river people. So that's been fun to grow up and watch them enjoy being able to watch the sunset and be out on the water. So, and I do hope to go back to Savannah. You know, now that I'm in higher education, I think SCAD would be a phenomenal place to work, and I think their involvement looks very different. But I'd like to see how I could fit into that world as a professional. But Savannah is very special to me, and just driving through the underneath Spanish Moss takes me home every time, and it's a beautiful sight, and I miss it very much.
That's always, I think, the coolest part of Savannah that I see is the giant trees with the moss hanging
Yeah.
down. That it's just such a cool look.
It absolutely is.
Charlie, yours is the town that I'm the least familiar with of
Yeah.
the four, other than obviously the syllables and letters. But everyone
It's important
knows that.
to know.
Yeah, it's like what is special about your hometown?
Yeah, so Russellville, it's a super small town in northwest Alabama, kind of centered in the heart between Mississippi and Tennessee, extreme northwest corner, population around 10,000. You're just kind of stereotypical small town, southern, everyone knows everybody, everyone knows everyone's business, but in a good way. The town's very supportive of one another. I loved growing up there. It's a very safe, just family-centric town. And it's kind of a great distance that you're an hour from a big city, so you can still go and do nice things, but you still have that time to come home and have that raise a family environment. So.
All right, now you all ended up going to school. So let's just say very briefly where you each went to undergrad, and we'll go reverse order this time. We'll start with Brooks.
Yeah, so I actually graduated from Auburn. So I was a freshman in 2017, graduated in 2020. So I decided to stick around to get my secondary degree as well. But yes, I'm an Auburn double alum.
All right, Charlie.
I graduated this past May from the University of North Alabama.
I graduated from Mississippi College. It's a small Christian university in Clinton, Mississippi, which is right outside of Jackson, Mississippi.
I graduated from the University of West Florida in May of 2020, and it, again, was in Pensacola, so I was in Pensacola for 23 years straight.
All right. I'm going to ask, so you all are graduate assistants within student involvement here at Auburn. So I'm making the assumption you were all involved with things while you were in college, and that's maybe what drew you here. So anyone can start, but what were you each involved in outside of the academics at your institution? And start with Chapman.
I'll go. So at MC, we didn't have fraternities and sororities. We had clubs and tribes, which is like a local sorority. So I was involved in that. I was the campus involvement chair one year, and then I was the judicial chair. I was an orientation leader for 3 years. I was on SGA for a hot second.
Just one hot second.
Yeah, that was like
Okay.
two years. And then
It's a long second.
it's a long second. And then I was involved just on campus with like all events kind of things. So definitely overly involved student, which then went to higher ed.
I was also that overly involved student. I think I did a little bit of everything, except I was never an RA. Some of my favorite parts, I did orientation for 3 years. I was captain of our LaGrange Society, which were Office of the President and official university ambassadors. And then I was Mr. University of North Alabama, so I got to represent my university and escort our Miss University of North Alabama and do a lot of community work and promote the university as a whole. So it was an awesome experience.
How did you earn that title?
So it's a male beauty pageant, and so it was actually done in our campus green or campus amphitheater.
Was there a talent show?
There was a talent
What was
show.
your talent?
I did sing. I sang New York State of Mind by Billy Joel.
Okay.
And I got to wear a purple suit, so it was really fun. There's pictures. It was so awesome. My fraternity came out and supported me. My family got to come. I was nominated by a sorority, so all the sorority girls were there supporting me. And it was just an awesome experience to be able to represent my campus. And I'm still the reigning Mr. UNA, so I'll give it up in October. But I love my university so much.
That's very cool.
So I was an RA in my undergrad time here at Auburn. I lived in Cambridge Hall for 4 years. I was a resident and then worked there 3 years as an RA. And loved every minute of it. I also was involved in SGA. I served as president of the College of Human Sciences Schools Council, as well as the president of their ambassador program. So love my college, love College of Human Sciences, miss it very much. I also last fall had the opportunity to run a homecoming campaign, which was very special and an incredible experience. But yeah, that being an RA took up a lot of my time. So that was what I did.
Jamie?
So when I was an undergrad, I was involved in the Student Government Association. I was also involved in fraternity and sorority life. But a good bulk of my time was spent on campus activity planning committees and then some other various boards and committees about things like, alcohol and drug safety, domestic violence prevention, just like various committees and how we can make our campus safer. That was the bulk of my time, and I felt a lot of passion and pride for those committees.
I think it's interesting. Pretty much everyone that's come on the podcast has said what I think it was Chapman that said, like, I was that involved student. I think like almost everyone that's been on the podcast has said some form of that. I just think that's very interesting, and that's probably one of the many things. Amy's saying that she did not say that, but you were involved in things. You said you were involved. But I think it's interesting the way that maybe influenced so many different people to end up being in the department that we're all in, and influence what you're spending your time doing during grad school. That said, you are managing classes, a graduate assistantship, and hopefully like sometime just away from all of that, just having fun somewhere. So how is it managing that, having a course load as we're about to get into a new year? We're recording this, in the summer still, but the semester is not far away. How is it managing a course load, an assistantship, and then also having some kind of life away from campus?
I think, Jamie can probably agree with this as well, but you really start to rely on that Outlook app and organizing your events and sending calendar invites. I mean, that was just something in undergrad that I never utilized. So genuinely, like, organizing. Why are you cracking up?
I like the subtle shade of
I
me giving
agree.
you a hard time
Yeah,
for the Outlook
you're
app,
welcome.
and you being like, the Outlook app
Yeah,
is what helps.
you got
So it was a great answer. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So time management was definitely a big thing, but I think I came right into my first semester. So I graduated in fall and then took graduate classes in spring. So I had no downtime, just Christmas break. And I definitely relied very heavily on Chapman and Jamie as I kind of navigated courses. And I'm hopeful to do that for Charlie as he starts his first semester as well. But I think a lot of times it can be overwhelming because you want to be present for your students here in involvement, but you also need to recognize that you're a student first as well. So relying on those professors and our wonderful program, to show up for us and help us navigate tough courses. But I think time management, and then just like you said, taking advantage of those fun opportunities and getting out of the office, getting off of campus, because we spend a lot of time here in this building specifically. So I think we're ever learning, and like I said, none of us have experienced a true grad year with COVID still upon us, and so maybe looking to kind of shift out of that may change some things.
Yeah, so Jamie and Chapman, you were both here for all of last year, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So I know that was not a normal year, but you still went through having classes, having an assistantship, and then having, some kind of life outside of here. So if you want to follow up on what Brooke said, what was that like last year?
Yeah, we both interviewed for our job, our GA ships, like the week before COVID happened. And then we got them, and then we moved in during the summer here. It was definitely, I am going to back Brooks up on the calendar app. And it's really, like, I don't know, you just, like, I didn't have to block out my schedule that detailed when I was in undergrad, even though I'm taking more classes and doing more things, but, like, and I was over involved. You just have to block out your time and, like, make those times to do papers and like actually read and stuff like that, because if you don't, then you're not going to do it and you're going to get overwhelmed. So highly recommend using your app and color coding it and making it pretty. I love Outlook. And then just like relying on your supervisor and like being honest in your because you're learning to become a professional, you're learning to become an advisor. So relying on them and like understanding and asking for advice on what you should do, and then like maybe take that mental health day or that catch up day that you might need during the summer or during the semester because you get overwhelmed, and like have that time and like be able to have that relationship with your supervisor to do that too.
That's where I think if I was going to give you advice on all of that, like how to handle that and get away from that a little bit, it is so easy, especially with what we do. In grad school, you have a paper, you do the paper. If you have readings, you do the readings. Or you learn how to skim the readings, maybe. I'm sure you all read every word for word.
Exactly.
I may have done more skimming than full comprehensive reading in grad school. But allegedly. That's not confirmed. Don't research that. But if I would say, how do you get away? It is very easy. If there's always going to be something to do. There's always going to be work to get done. So the one thing you really have to train yourself to do is know when it is okay to let that thing wait until tomorrow. Just as importantly, though, know when it can't wait until tomorrow. And if you need help with that, tell people you need help with that. But if something can wait until tomorrow and you need the mental break, give yourself the mental break. I always think it's good to try if you can, and in grad school you might not be able to do this, but try to leave your computer here at least one night a week so you don't have it at home. That might not be possible in grad school. I don't know. But if you do bring it home, you don't have to open up the Outlook app. And I know it's on your phone, but you can keep that closed. You can keep your email closed for one night. Try to give yourself at least one night, hopefully more than that, where you're not having to focus on the work, because the work's always going to be there the next day. Jamie, you were here. You work with SGA
Yes.
primarily. So of any group, they're the ones that has so much going on, because they are technically every student in Auburn is a member of SGA. So what has that been like for you?
It's been a really enriching experience, only because, as I shared earlier, I was involved in student government as an undergraduate. It was not here at Auburn, so it is very, very different. It is much larger. There's a lot more programming that happens. Ours was very much initiative-based, whereas the student government here at Auburn is a lot more program-based. So you're familiar with things like Heyday and things like the ring event ceremony that some of your listeners might be familiar with. That was a new curveball that I encountered. I think the nature of the Auburn student leader, this is not exclusive to SGA, but I think the student leaders here across like all of our programs, across our entire office, they care a lot about what they're doing. And they, when we say in the creed, they believe in Auburn and love it, they really do love it. And that I've seen that become very, very true with students who are in SGA. To a point where maybe I do need to encourage them to leave their office. Maybe I do need to encourage them, you should not be skipping class so you can go to this meeting or to go set up your event early. Class comes first. So I've really, really enjoyed working with SGA students. I see a lot of myself in them, and I see a lot of my absolute best mentors in them. And well, I don't want to give away my quote. I know we're doing quotes later, but there's a quote that I really enjoy that one of my mentors shared with me is, you need to make citizens of the world. So, of course, I want them to succeed in SGA, but I want them to succeed in med school or dental school or to become lawyers. So I try to think longitudinally that way when I'm advising them.
Right. So I think that in an effort to keep work-life balance on your minds, let's talk about something that's not work-related. What are some of your favorite places to go around town? And I want each of you to say like one or two. Chapman is ready to go, so we're going to start with
I have
Chapman.
a debate that I was
okay.
going to bring up.
I would love to weigh in.
Debate of Taco Mama versus Taco Rita. And I'm on the Taco Rita camp. I love Taco. Oh, Amy's against me. Taco Rita has better salsa, and I just like the vibes better there, and I just like the tacos better. They have they have a better selection. So that's I love Taco Rita.
Okay.
I love.
Is this a common debate you have?
People are just like, I don't know.
In higher education, yes. And it is in our program, seriously, it's a big debate. Because they'll be like, oh, where do we want to go tonight? And we want, tacos or something. And then half the group is, on one camp and half, it is.
Because I'll say I like them both.
Yeah.
I don't have like, a strong feeling, but I prefer Taco Rita to Taco
See?
Mama.
No.
You're not gonna comment.
I will comment. Because I am over 21 and have been for a little while, I love the frozen pomegranate margarita at Taco Mama. So that's my favorite. But I don't know. It's also, Taco Rita's a lot. You can sit down, and I like that vibe, but Taco Mama gets busy really quickly, and Taco Rita, you can go and sit down. So I understand. I can go both ways.
I'm a little upset that Taco Rita raised their $2 taco on Tuesday to $3 tacos on Tuesday. That was offensive to me.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I also like Big Blue Bagel.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Those
And-
bagel chips are
Oh, I haven't
pretty
had the
good.
bagel chips.
Ooh, get the bagel chips as your side.
Oh,
Education.
Yes.
thank you.
I have to plug as well.
With
I'm an-
cream cheese, Amy said.
Oh.
I'm not a big cream cheese fan,
That's
but
good.
You don't eat cream cheese in your bagels?
What do you eat on it?
Sometimes peanut butter, sometimes
All right.
regular butter.
That's a choice. Okay.
Anyway.
Didn't know I was going to get judged.
Right. Goodness.
All right. I mean, it's a form of bread. Have you ever put peanut butter on bread before?
Oh, I don't eat peanut butter, so
Okay.
that's a different problem.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't eat cream cheese, so,
We agree to disagree.
so here we are.
I'll see you during the trivia round.
I don't think that's going to go as well for you as I think it is.
Oh, no.
But okay, so Chapman, you said Taco Rita is one of your favorite places.
Yes.
What? Give me one more favorite place.
I said a Blue Bagel.
Blue Bagel.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
It does not have to be a food question. It's okay if it's all
Oh,
food questions, but it doesn't have to be a food question either.
I will say my two favorite things in Auburn. One is trivia nights at Moe's Barbecue. If you know me, you know that is true. I love Moe's Barbecue. We actually are going tomorrow to cap out the summer. We are trying to qualify for regionals so we can go to
Are we in
Birmingham and
Glee
play.
Club all of a sudden?
No, we're in Trivia
Yes.
Club. And we can. If you qualify, if you're in the top 3 each week, which we usually are, you can go to Birmingham and play for like $1,000. So that's our goal. But I also love the different, like Demi was talking about earlier, the different nature parks, like the Arboretum, or going to Chihuahua, or even venturing out to Lake Martin and climbing the fire tower. There are so many beautiful places that we're surrounded by that need to be explored. So that's always a fun weekend when it's not 105 degrees. That's a fun thing to do.
I just moved here in May, so I've loved kind of getting to experience living in a different city. I live in Opelika, so I have the joy of seeing Auburn and Opelika every day. I really love going to downtown Opelika. I'm going to plug Niffers. The corn nuggets are everything to me.
Okay. They buy like store-bought frozen corn nuggets.
And they're good. I'll buy them too.
You could get them and have them at home if you want.
I will.
That's all I'm saying.
But I just love like walking around downtown, going to like the tourist places, like getting Toomer's Lemonade my first time was such a special experience for me, and I just love experiencing the Auburn culture.
I have two thoughts on that. One is I mentioned being at Niffers one time, and our producer Amy only response was, "Oh, that's your fault for going to Niffers."
You don't like Niffers?
And my other thing is I like that you talked about, like, I live in Opelika, so I see if you have never been to Auburn or Opelika and listening to this podcast, they have a very different idea probably right now of how far away Auburn and Opelika are from each other, because you could go in and out of both of them. And
It's
not
the
know
same
you're
street at one point.
It is, and it's called Opelika Road. Yeah. Downtown Opelika is very nice, though. Like, it's nice. You can walk around, plenty of stuff to do, for sure. Jamie, what are your favorite spots?
You will find me often at Coffee Cat, located on North Dean.
I think so.
It's one of the side roads
Sure.
right off of University. So I love going there on Saturdays and on Tuesdays. Used to go on Fridays, but I had to cut it down twice a week, so I'm on a budget.
Say that out of the side of your mouth like it's a secret.
I'm on a budget. I'm balling on a budget. Okay. And I love going to the nature preserve. I don't know the name of it. It's someone's last name. I believe it's Auburn property. It's not Chihuahua, but it's the nature preserve.
Starts with a K?
Yes.
I'll be honest, I do not know how to pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try. The Nature Preserve.
It's the nature preserve.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a nice place.
It's very nice. They have if you walk far enough, they have a really cute butterfly garden, which I'm a fan of. And it's, I think, about 10 minutes north of the university. It's still university property, like I said, but it's very nice there. But there's so many trees that it's nice and shaded. So even on a hot day, it's kind of nice to just walk around.
My tip for everybody for places to go, it's a food tip. If you have not been to the Hound for brunch yet.
I tried to go one time and the line was so long.
So the tip is you got to get there right when they open.
What time do they get?
I think it's 9:30. It'll say on Google.
Okay.
If you would like,
Do you guys know about Google?
yes.
Okay.
If you would like to sponsor,
we are Microsoft only in this
It's
family.
it's GOOGLE.com.
Can you connect that to Outlook?
right? Can you send us a calendar invite for brunch?
I'm going to
Ellie
send
is
you a
being
calendar invite for Google.com.
Thank you.
But if you search, you get there 10 minutes before they open and line up, you'll get seated right away. And it is the best brunch I've ever had.
So what do you get?
I get granola French toast. It's granola crusted French toast with fresh berries and stuff on top of it, and it is so, so good.
Right. I don't know if you heard Jamie, but collectively we are balling on a budget all the time. So if you would like to sponsor us going to the Hound, I'm all in. But we can't.
Once
We give great
we can't
spawn
spend
comments.
any money
Everyone's-
on the Hound.
I will sponsor you all the way that Publix sponsors this podcast with moral support. I don't even know if they give that, but I will outdo Publix and give you moral support.
Great.
That's cool.
Thanks.
You know, once in a while, if you're balling on a budget, that's the balling part. You got to every now and then.
Sure.
You got to have a little bit of fun and let future you worry about it. That's terrible advice. Don't follow it. How, just in one word, so far, I know you've been here for different amounts of time. Brooks, if you want to include your undergrad, but if you want to just include your grad school experience, in one word, we'll start with Charlie.
Okay.
Your experience in student involvement so far has been?
Gracious. I'm just so thankful to be here every day.
That was more than one word. I'm
I'm-
kidding. It's fine.
Oh goodness.
And if you want to do it, he didn't explain it. That's fine.
Okay.
Brooks?
I have to explain mine. I would say new, and here's why. Because my undergrad experience was very different. I was kind of on the outside of student involvement, and not in a way that like, oh, I wasn't inside and I was excluded. But I did a lot of other things, and so everything is new. Every day is a new opportunity to connect with an org that I didn't know anything about. We're going through re-registration right now. That's primarily one of my responsibilities. I'm working with AU Involve and just getting to read about the orgs that exist on this campus. I mean, we have the best time just learning about them and learning how to support them. So it's new. Every day is exciting and every day is new.
Chapman?
I would say supportive. It was cool to into an office environment with so many different people, but still like one big family, and we're all supportive of each other. And like I love staff meetings. Got to be my first one because I was away this summer, so I got to be back for the first staff meeting this summer, and it was just good to like be back in a supportive environment.
I would say energizing because I've been here over a year and I have never had the same day twice. Both with students who keep me on my toes, but also with the staff. I would kind of echo Chapman in that they're very supportive, but also very energizing in a lot of ways.
All right. That's good. So we are going to leave Let's Get Personal, and we are going to get why you're all actually wanting to be here. We're going to get to midterms. Yes. And I'm going to ask 10 trivia questions. Normally, it's all designed for one person, but for this one, I am going to do it in a way that each of you get specific questions, so you can't help each other. But first, let's recap the standings, shall we? They should be coming on your screen right now. And we have Alexis Davis currently in the lead with 6. We have Hannah Gherkin with 5 or 6. That is up for the review board. There was an inconsistency with Google and the Austin Public Library.
That's why I use Microsoft.
And I don't know that Microsoft as a company had the answer. So that is either a tie for first place or Alexis in first place by herself. You don't know when the review board is going to rule. It could be today. It could be right now. It could be 2 weeks from now. And then we have Amy Shugart with 5. That review has been approved, and she got the 5th point. And then we have Pearson Brown with 5, who has left us to go to the University of Georgia for his doctoral degree. So I'm going to, I guess, sadly take him off the podium. Because Amy looks happy about that. That's mean to Pearson. But you know, he can't claim a prize because he's not here anymore. So it looks like Amy, you are either tied for 2nd or in 3rd, depending on the results of the very complicated review process when we go. So, with that, are you all ready for midterms?
I guess.
I hope you go into your classes with more enthusiasm and confidence than that. First one.
As ruthless with the question picking.
First one is for Jamie. You said you like the show New Girl. Mm-hmm. I am thankfully watching New Girl right now for the first time. So I took a question from an episode I watched. What did Schmidt want to name his autobiography?
Oh my God. I truly do not know. Nothing is even occurring to me at all. I know it's something long and probably really obnoxious, but I truly do not know.
Punting the Sweet Fantastic.
I would never have pulled that out.
And I think that is a wonderful name for an autobiography.
Gracious.
Chapman, you get question number 2.
Okay.
You said you like stand-up specials on Netflix. Mm-hmm. What is the name of John Mulaney's dog?
Petunia.
Petunia is correct.
Stunning.
We are at 1. Okay. Charlie, your first job was working at a dog food company.
Yes.
This is a multiple choice question.
Okay.
How many varieties of dry dog food does Kibble and Bits offer?
Oh, no.
7, 9, 11, 21.
11.
9.
Okay.
Yeah. I was surprised. I thought it'd be higher than that. Yeah. Brooks, you like This Is Us, the TV show.
Yes.
What year were the big 3 born?
Oh, okay. So they just turned 40. So I'm going to go 1982.
1980.
Dang it.
You're close.
That was close.
You were close.
Yeah.
You were close. 1980. So through the first round, we were at 1. We're at 1. All
Are we
right.
collectively one team? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So right now,
So it's not a shutout.
Chapman is the early candidate for MVP of the trivia
Yes,
team.
true.
But we have another round. So Jamie, you said your family's ancestry is from the Philippines. Mm-hmm. What is the national animal of the Philippines? I couldn't give this one to Charlie because he would have been ready for it.
Is it a lion?
It is not a lion. It is a caribou.
Nope.
I don't know.
Is that a type of moose?
No, it's a type of water buffalo.
Yes, VeggieTales. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Water
it's the
Buffalo
booze.
song. Yeah, okay.
Do you want to sing? No, you don't want to sing
I
it.
don't. Just wanted to say
No
that.
one ever wants to sing
Great
it.
song. Look it up.
Okay. Chapman, you like the Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
What does Rory accidentally shoplift after her first kiss with Dean?
Oh.
I will give you a hint.
Okay.
She was in Taylor Dosey's grocery store.
Oh yeah. I knew
And
that.
Jamie was real upset that she didn't get a
Oh,
hint.
What did I
it,
get?
it was cornstarch.
It was cornstarch. You're correct.
Great job.
Can I ask a
Alright.
question?
Yep.
Chapman, does your back hurt from carrying our team?
Yeah, really.
Like,
Also,
she's
I have a
killing it right
clarifying
now.
question. Are there 10 for each of us?
No.
Oh, okay.
That would take a little too long.
It
There's 10
certainly
questions
would.
total.
Oh,
Also, it'd be a pretty unfair advantage if y'all had 40
right.
questions.
Okay. I just want to
Like,
clarify.
second place was 6, first place was 32.
32.
All right, Charlie, you said you like Broadway musicals.
I do.
Based on the number of performances, which musical has had the longest run in the history of Broadway?
Okay, so when you say Broadway, are you talking about solely American Broadway or all time, including West End?
I will American Broadway. It's if you Google
The
longest running Broadway show
The Phantom of the Opera.
on Google, again that's GOOGLE. You said what?
The Phantom of the Opera?
Correct.
Yeah.
With 13,370 shows. Second place was Chicago. Third place was
And I
Lion
hate
King.
Phantom of the Opera. So
Which
the
is
fact that I knew that is
wild.
impressive.
All right, so we're up to 3. All right, Brooks. What is the name of Simba and Nala's daughter in The Lion King?
Oh.
I've seen The Lion King many times. Did not know they had a daughter.
Oh, my kids that I babysit for are going to be so mad at me. I know the son. I know the like. Oh, I can see her. Oh, no. I'm going to say Kion because that's the name of the.
You were so close.
What is it?
Kiara.
Dang it.
So close.
Collins is going to be so mad at me.
So close. Okay, this one, there is a little bit of team effort because there's 10. I don't know if you know this. You're in grad school. You're still learning. 10 is not divisible by 4.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
they told me
I was shocked when I started writing
in
these.
college algebra.
So, in college algebra. So, each of you now, this is a team effort for 2 of you. So, Jamie and Brooks. What's older? You can confer before final answer. Jamie and Brooks, what's older? The first college in America or the Declaration of Independence? Confer into the mic, though.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Can you say it again?
Yes, what is older? The first college in America or the Declaration of Independence?
The date the Declaration was ratified or the date that it was drafted?
The year.
And are we talking like adult learning situation or institutionalized university?
I mean, we're talking about Harvard
Oh,
because Harvard is the oldest.
what did you say?
I think the Declaration is older because for some reason I'm seeing 18 something for Harvard, but I feel like I'm also wrong.
Right, and I just got out of Nature of Adult Education, and we learned about the history of adult education, and adult learning was taking place long before Harvard.
Right.
But I would have to imagine that institutionalized, like college, I would say I would go Declaration as well.
I feel like we're wrong.
But I feel like they're gonna be like, oh, one was 2 months before the other, so you know.
And this is why we're in grad school.
and Dr. Duran's going to be really mad at us if we get this wrong.
We all took
I don't know that-
secondary education.
Oh, I have not yet. I have not taken post-secondary education.
I don't
I
know that.
have, and I should know that.
Overview.
I don't know that I deserved that attitude.
I'm sorry, Billy. I'm nervous.
So, what is your answer?
I'm so scared.
Me too.
I can't see you. Hang on.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Kick us out of the
yes.
program?
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna go with.
To be fair, they probably won't watch this.
Oh, also okay.
I want to say Declaration, but I also am not confident.
We're gonna
I've
say
got-
that with zero confidence, and an exit letter from our program.
Incorrect. It was Harvard.
Oh,
Was it
1636.
1636?
Correct.
Can,
didn't know-
can we
17
have a point?
I knew the
Chapman have
date.
a
I knew the
point?
date.
1776. I'm guessing you knew for the Declaration.
Can Chapman have half a point for carrying our team?
1630.
She can have half of a fiction.
I just need to I'll come back for another bonus round of just 10 questions for
Yeah.
Chapman.
For
So then I can be against Hannah and Alexis.
All right. So we are at how many? We're at 3. We're at 3. Okay. So this is really just for pride because you're not getting on the podium, unfortunately.
Okay.
Chapman and Charlie.
Uh-huh.
How many minutes per day does the average TikTok user spend on the app? This is multiple choice.
Yikes!
So, how many minutes per day does the average TikTok user spend on the app? 37, 43
37 what?
minutes.
Okay.
Not hours. That's more hours than in a day.
We're still learning.
This is per day. I don't know if you know this. There's 24 hours in a day. Those are divided up by minutes.
Thank you for bringing
Okay.
me back.
How many minutes per day does the average TikTok user spend on the app? 37 minutes, 43, 48, or 52?
I think it's higher than people think it is.
Yes, but I also
I think it's higher than people think it is.
yeah, but I don't think it's the highest number because as a fan of the podcast, it never is the biggest number. But I feel like he's trying to trick me because I am a fan of the podcast. So that's what I'm confused
I
on.
think it's what's
There is a reason I did not give you your national animal
It's
question.
an eagle. I know that because I studied.
I knew you would.
um
Just like Amy and Dana knew I would, and they asked me like what random country.
so the numbers are 30 or the numbers
37, 43, 48, 52.
I think it's between 43 and 48.
Uh-huh.
Because TikToks they have those 3-minute ones now. So you don't even know.
Yeah.
You're watching a
Because you
3-minute
don't
video.
even know.
They're roping us
So
in.
I think it's 48.
Let's go with that.
48.
It's 52. It's the last answer.
You did it to me.
And I actually had the thought I never put it as the last option. and
Because
yeah,
you knew I would think that way.
Correct.
Wow.
We'll talk after.
We'll talk. The good news is it's C sometimes. Amy said it's never C.
Well, you haven't chosen a C since Hannah's.
Because Hannah said
Yeah,
see your way out.
because Hannah outed that C is like the.
But you've never chosen a C since then.
Yeah.
Yeah. because I know people like Charlie watch the podcast, and I don't.
chose C.
And I don't.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you didn't learn.
Well, see, we thought like realistically not the see your way out thing because I knew you probably wouldn't do that, but I was like maybe he would.
Yeah. So
Should've
good.
been good at filling.
Bring us back.
So 3 points. The bad news is you're not going to win. The good news is you did beat me
Nice.
because I think I had 2.5. I don't know how I ended up getting a half, but I think I only knew Corey Matthews part of his name or something. I knew Cornelius was Corey's first name, but I didn't know the middle name. So you did beat me. If you feel good about that, I don't know. But you did not win. I apologize
That's okay.
to no one. So we're going to move on from trivia.
I still want a rematch, though. I
Yeah.
want 10 questions.
I'll give you 10.
We'll host our own.
Yeah, really. It's
Hey.
a GA podcast, and we'll host student leaders. Brilliant. Okay.
I love it. All right, so after the team trivia challenge we just had, we're going to get into Let's Get Professional, where we talk about, what you do. We're going to do a little bit of that in Let's Get Personal, but we're going to get deeper into it here. So as graduate assistants, you're expected to help students learn and grow, but you're also learning from full-time staff as well. So talk about that balance and what that's been like for each of you. Whoever wants to take that can take that.
I can take it.
Go ahead.
So I am the GA for leadership programs at Auburn, and then this summer I did a internship at the University of Florida with their orientation program. So I saw 2 different supervising styles and 2 different, very different environments, though, like just like the work you're doing with students. But how I balance it and like learning how to like become a supervisor myself or advisor myself is like learning the exact like how like learning the like line you have with the student and the line you have with a friend. And I know it's very hard with me being 23 and I'm not that much older than the students I'm advising, and like they're my brother's age, so it's like a little weird. But obviously, as I get older in my career, they're always going to say 20, and I'm always going to get older, which is kind of sad. But just like learning to have that balance between like, yes, I'm just trying to advise them and not be their friend is something hard. I'm trying to like work on this summer or this semester. But what was the question again?
How do you balance it? It's like learning and growing,
Yeah, just like
but also helping students
Yeah.
learn and grow.
learning to like taking what I'm learning in my classes with like theory and like how I can like help them on their journey, not just in their leadership role or their position role in their organization, but in their like life outside of like as their career, and like using those skills to be able to then go into interviews and then in the spring or stuff like that, and taking that from my personal experience, like not just because I am in higher education, I can apply it to other things. And like being that supportive system there, and like if they just need to sit on my couch, we have a little couch in the grad pad, just like sit on the couch for a minute because they just need a minute and don't need to do anything right now, like they can do that. And having that open environment is something that I want in the future, and I'm trying to create now.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head though with the line between being a mentor and an advisor to someone and being a friend to someone. Because I think even as you get older, I mean, I graduated college 3 or 4 years ago now. And Okay, you don't have to laugh that much, but no, but the longer you're in this, that line never necessarily completely goes away. I think you just get better at managing it, because when you do spend a lot of time with people, and we all spend a lot of time with our students, you're going to find out things about what's going on in their life, and you're going to hear about things. So I think that line never completely goes away. I think you just get more experienced at managing that line. But there is a fine line, because you do want to show your students that you care. So you are going to talk to them and you're going to get to know them. And it can be very easy to start feeling like you're talking to a friend. And that's where you have to remind yourself that that's not what you are, that you're not friends, you're their advisor. Or in this case, you're assisting their advisor, but in a way you are also their advisors. So I think one of the easiest ways for me that I remember that, even now, 4 or 5 years after I'm just kidding. Once people laugh at a joke, I just keep going back to it. I remind myself, like, I need to show them what professionalism is.
Yeah.
And that always keeps me from going to the friend side of the line. Because whenever you're trying purposefully to demonstrate professionalism and work ethic and stuff like that, it's a lot easier to then stay away from the friend side of the line while still having those conversations that let you connect with them. So that would be my always remind yourself, like, demonstrate professionalism, demonstrate work ethic, kind of keep that lens in everything you talk to them about. And I think it's then easier to manage that line.
Yeah. I just think with, I have the opportunity to work with Alexis, and she oversees all of student orgs. And so it's interesting the different perspectives she has as my, specific advisor. As she has conversations with me as well as with our students, she exhibits that line very well. And I've learned a lot. But I think the biggest thing is taking personality traits or, situationalized responses from advisors and mentors that I've had in the past, and just answering the question, what would I want somebody to do for me in this situation as a student leader or as an ex-student leader in undergrad is, how did somebody show up for me in this space? And then how can I translate that to what we're working on right now? But I know we're all in the kind of mindset of job hunting and what comes next after this year, as graduation is closer than I would like to admit. But just relying on our advisors and the folks that we have around us. Before Pearson went to UGA, I had a long conversation with him about why he chose the path that he did and what advice does he have for me, and hopefully I can share that with folks as well. But relying on them for advice about professional world, because they just did it, so who else to ask?
What is it about the particular area that you each work in drew you to that? Let's start with Jamie on this one. I know you said you were in SGA as a student, so I'm guessing that's part of it.
That is pretty much all of it. Quite honestly, I don't really know how else to articulate it, but a big fear of mine was that I was going to silo myself into just being working in student governance. And I kind of wanted to stray from that, but then I realized the farther away I strayed from it, the more I missed it. So I feel quite comfortable working with student government, working with students who operate in a legislative body, and working with students who pursue initiatives relevant to the campus life experience. I feel also a sense of comfort around things related to student affairs assessment, since I did an internship, which is not related to the assistantship, but I think it lends itself well to what we do in our department and what we do in our division. So I think those are my two big areas of comfort right now, and why I chose to be student government graduate assistant.
Charlie?
So I work with our service programs, so I directly advise our 5 service-based SAOs, as well as our Auburn Gives Back initiative, which is our campus and community-wide service programs throughout the entire Auburn community. And what is my passion for service and what I love about working with my students is that service is something that you do extra. It's very easy to kind of forget about community service. It can be very easy to focus in on your academics or what you get out of your involvement, whether you're Greek or whether you are on an intramural team. But community service is something that takes a heart for service. It's hard. There are hard days in service, but what is so great about my students is that they love what they do and they love their initiatives. Dance Marathon, they love the Miracle Families. They love those kids. Beat Bama Food Drive. Those students have such a passion for alleviating food insecurity in Lee County and across the state of Alabama. I mean, big event. They do yard work. I've never seen so many students so passionate about doing yard work, but it's every single student that I have an opportunity to interact with is just so passionate about giving back and saying thank you because they're so blessed to be at this university. So I'm so blessed to be learning and growing with them.
Hey, Chapman?
So I'm in leadership programs, and during my undergrad, I actually have a minor in servant leadership. So leadership has always been a part of my college career. and then learning about they have like a leadership program that's like a whole program and it's funded and it's like it's something that I was very attracted to coming into grad school, and so like being able to like continue that and like work with students that also have a passion for leadership and passion for like helping others find their skills and their like leadership style to be able to do that. So that's how I got here.
Brooks?
I have to be fully transparent. I graduated in the middle of the year, and so assistantships are not always bountiful during that time, and I didn't go through a typical PGA experience where you go and you apply for many different positions at once. I was searching for assistantships knowing that I needed to figure out a way to pay for grad school, and then fell across this one and emailed John Michael and said, hey, I'm interested, and that's kind of how I got this position specifically. But then learning about the four kind of areas that we advise, that's the Involvement Ambassadors, our organizations board, ISO, or International Student Association, and then BSU, our Black Student Union. And so I think learning about those orgs after I already had the position was a bit of a learning curve as well, but it's just so incredible to see a group of students, a small group of students with the Involvement Ambassadors, advocate on behalf of involvement to the entire university. So recognizing that all 590 plus orgs are important and they bring something to this campus, while organizations board is making decisions on their behalf, whether it's about funding or situations that need to be made about constitutions, that kind of thing, and then just the incredible work that BSU and ISO continues to do and has done in the past, just to be able to stand on the sidelines and cheer them on has been wonderful. But I'm constantly learning. It's only been a semester and a summer, so trying to continue to have conversations with students and learn more about this space and what they do. But again, like everybody has said, there's just that passion. You just see that draw. When they have conversations with people, it's not rehearsed. It's completely from the heart. It's coming from a place of love and admiration for this campus and for the students that are in it, instead of just like, yeah, this is what I do and you could do it too. So, but yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask one more question for each of you. I'll start with Charlie. What's been more challenging than you expected it to be? And challenging, I always preface, as you know, challenging doesn't mean bad. Mm-hmm. Challenging just means difficult, or it pushed you a little bit. But what's been more challenging than you've expected?
Yeah, so in the short time I've been here, I've only been here 3 months. It's been amazing to see the growth that I've already seen in myself on assuming that role from being a student leader who was so invested in, and I would not have found higher ed if I hadn't have had a mentor who pushed me and invested in me, and being able to be that person for my student leaders, having to step up and be that face and pour into the student the same way I was poured into is a challenge, but it's also so rewarding. And so I like to say it's a challenge, but it's a greatest gift every day that I'm able to complete the cycle and pour back into the way that I was poured into.
Chapman, what's been the biggest surprise to you about being a GA? Specifically being in your GA position?
Biggest surprise.
This technically can also be good or bad, but hopefully it's a good thing.
Biggest surprise, I think, like being last semester during the spring, I was the primary advisor for Explore, which is our first year program, and just like seeing the growth between our lead team members, and like in that environment, and like having that was a surprise that like they depended on me, and then I went away from the summer, so it was very surprising to be like they like missed me and they like wanted me to be back, and not to say like I like didn't like think they didn't like me, but it was just like I don't know, it was very surprising that they saw the work I did and like appreciated it and like want me to come back and want me to be full steam ahead.
It makes you realize the impact you have on people.
Yeah, and like I guess the impact was the surprising part.
Brooks, looking to the year ahead, what is something you're hoping to accomplish?
I think as I transition out of the undergraduate headspace, I'm hoping to accomplish more of that advisor role. So I think as I went through the spring semester, I was taking on more of a supportive role instead of an advising role. And I would like to be able to have more meaningful one-on-one conversations with, the different folks in my orgs and rely heavily on Alexis as those conversations are happening. But again, I want to be able to continue that impact. Like Chapman was talking about, it's the reason why we get up and walk through those doors every day, to support our students so that they can continue to impact and support undergraduate students and constituents. So I think ultimately that's a very broad, answer, but to continue to have that impact and try to figure out how it uniquely adapts for each 4 of my organizations, because BSU needs things that are very, very different than what O-Board does. And so finding that balance and figuring out how to show up in that way.
And Jamie, last question in Let's Get Professional. What's your best advice to students that are considering going into grad school and doing an assistantship?
I think my biggest piece of advice is to lean into the people who want to invest in you and take criticism and take praise when it comes. There's people who have walked these steps before you did. There's people who have gone through all these motions that you are going through now, and I think it's easy. Actually, I'm not going to say it's easy. I think sometimes as graduate assistants, we want to volunteer for everything. We want to take on every single initiative. We want to be present as much as we can, but we also need to listen to our supervisors. We also need to listen whenever we're asked to focus on our studies. We're asked to take a step back and take care of ourselves. I wish I did a lot of that my first year. I didn't do a lot of that my first year, and I kind of regret it. I wish I did more of the pouring into relationships, and I wish I did more of the social things. Granted, it was hard during COVID because there's not a lot to do in Auburn, Alabama during a COVID year. But I think going to football games and I think doing some more of those social things with your professional organizations are important. So I think listening to people when they have that sage advice, whenever they want to offer you praise, if you are being like, oh, I'm not a person that really takes praise or takes compliments well, like just take them when they come. And if people are offering you criticism, like it's odds are they know where you're coming from and they know how to put you on the path that's the straight and narrow. So.
All right, with that, we're going to leave Let's Get Professional, get into our last segment. Of course, I am talking about Quote Me on That, where we're each going to share a quote that means something to us. It can be funny, meaningful, thought-provoking. No one's hit all 3 yet, so challenge extended to everybody. I've failed. This is the 10th episode, I think. I've failed like 9 or 10 times at doing all 3 of those. That's okay, though. We live for goals. So we're each just going to give our favorite quote and then talk, and we're going to just very briefly kind of explain why we picked that quote, just in a brief summary. I'll start so you have just a little bit of time to think. Mine is, you don't have to be perfect to help people. All you have to be is real. I picked that for all of you because I think it's very easy as a graduate assistant to not realize the position you're in to help and influence people. And if you're waiting to where I feel like a full, complete expert to be able to help people, you might never feel that way. I know I still don't feel that way. I don't think you ever get to a point where you just feel like you know everything. And if you get to that point, you probably know less than the person who isn't thinking that. So don't wait until you feel like you're an expert and you have your master's and you're a full-time advisor. Don't feel like you need to wait to help people. Just be genuine, be yourself, be honest about what you do and don't know, and you'll be able to have a huge impact on the students you're working with. So that's my quote directly for the 4 of you. Let's start with Brooks and go straight down the line.
Yeah, so a quote that I find myself leaning on and have for many years is, every day might not be a good day, but there's good in every day. And I started reflecting on this when I was dealing with some health issues over the past 3 years. And I deal with headaches pretty frequently. And my mom would always ask me, is today a good day? And I knew she was referring to my headaches, but I would always answer like, well, yeah, I got to do this and we went to lunch and blah, blah, blah. And she'd be like, no, like, how's your head? And so we would that was how we would gauge how I was doing. And a lot of times it was not a good day. I was not feeling well, but I tried to reflect on the things that were good about that day and kind of put my situation or my pain kind of to the side and recognize that I was at an institution that was supporting me and that I had credible friends and credible people around me that were pouring into me. And so I encourage my students to do the same. That like you may not have studied as much as you needed to today, but did you do something productive? Did you do X, Y, Z? Did you feel a certain way that was better than you did yesterday? So that's my quote. It's on my door in my office, and it's something I look to every day.
So mine is a kind of paraphrasing a longer quote, but it says that your legacy is planting seeds in a garden that you'll never get to see grow. And that's something for me that my parents have always instilled in me, that like every single day you have the opportunity to impact someone, and you may not even realize the impact you're making until you're long gone. But you have the opportunity every day to change someone's life. So wake up every day and be that person for someone in the same way they can be for you.
Chapman?
So mine's a funny one.
I love it.
It's more of the tagline of Gilmore Girls. It's life short, talk fast. And just that life keeps on going on, and it's a continuous loop. But like if you have to put in whatever you're into it, whatever you want, you have to get it back out. So just like having that mindset that like, yes, it's hard right now, but life will still go on and you have to get through it. So life's short, talk fast.
I think my favorite quote that has been my favorite for, oh goodness, probably since I was about 12 or 13 is happiness is only real when it's shared. And that is a quote from Christopher McCandless, who, for anyone who knows, he is a young man from Virginia who traversed the United States by himself. And he sadly passed away in Alaska. But he wrote a lot of like really thought-provoking quotes, and he carried books around when he walked all around the country. So that was one of the quotes found in the last book that he was reading and annotated before he passed. And I think it meant a lot to him only because he did spend a lot of time alone. When he was traveling the United States, he met a lot of people along the way. But I always really, whenever I read the book about his life, I really loved that quote. And I think it reigns true not just for the work that you do, but also the relationships that you have and the kind of lifestyle that you lead. Like whenever something good happens to me, I feel the need to call somebody and share it with them. Or whenever I'm like mourning something, I'm really sad and down about something, I want to call someone and talk it through with them. So I found that in any situation I'm in, I really, really want to share it. And so that's why I love that quote so much.
All right, with that, we're going to leave it there. Jamie, Chapman, Charlie, Brooks, thank you so much for joining us on Access Involvement. I know our office is a better place for you all to be there, and I know I don't directly supervise or work with either one of you, but you know my door is always open if you need to come talk. But I know everyone that you work with directly is thankful that you're here and ready for the year with them, and you certainly make our office just better than it would be without you. Until next time, I'm Billy Ferris, and this has been Access Involvement, where discovering your path is as easy as keeping your plants watered in the pouring rain.